Welcome to the Boricua Culture Mix. I'm one of your hosts, Wilma Lebron Moore.
And I'm Diane Rivera.
And this is where la isla meets the diaspora.
Échate pa' acá, te hice café.
Hey, yo, welcome back. It's Wilma Lebron Moore, one of your hosts from Boricua Culture Mix, and we have been on a much-needed break. We're going to get into that, as well as this week's episode is everything Benito Martínez Ocasio, because we did not have time to discuss uno más, the Super Bowl announcement, the interview con René from Billboard, as well as his SNL skits that happened last night. So, tómate tu cafecito, get real comfortable, because we're going to have a lot of opinions, and we have other special guests. So, dale. Bueno. This is the check-in portion. So, we are going to be as transparent as possible. I tell you every time we are two regular ass human beings doing this pod, and we needed some time off porque I had to move. And moving sucks ass, okay? It was so much. So my apartment got water damage y tenía que mover de un lado a otro, and I needed time. And so we didn't have the capability of doing that. Had to do all the things. First of all, adulting sucks, right? Because I had to go talk to the cable people, di que see the light people, di que who's going to help me pack up? Adulting, right? Y después tirar para afuera todo lo que podía tirar para afuera, because I was like, I refuse to come to this new apartment with all the nonsense that I had before. But shout out to Diane, because her and the whole family was there. Granted, baby J was out here wilding. We had to keep her entertained and fed. Okay, because she wanted her price up front before she do anything. But Diane was dealing with a lot of things. I was dealing with a lot of things for the past 2 weeks. Pero we have not left you. The pod did not go dark.
Estamos aquí, estamos de vuelta. Lo más probable, pues, otra vez, tú sabes, que nos vamos una semana, pero tú sabes que viramos para atrás, porque lo más importante es no quitarse. Okay. So, estamos aquí para que la cultura siga viva, para decir lo que tengamos que decir con nuestras voces, pero no se despeguen, porque este episodio, como dijo Wilma que era como que, ¿sabes? Completito de un santo. del santo de Wilma. Prende la velita, porque esto es todo Bad Bunny y todo lo que ha hecho, porque mira qué ha hecho Bad. So, hay muchísimo de qué hablar, so quédense aquí, porque lo que van a escuchar les va a gustar. Así que
enjoy the show.
Vamos para allá. Y tenemos que introducir a alguien que ya pues, ha estado con nosotros, como lo dijo Wilma, en uno de nuestros episodios, uno de los mejores episodios que nosotros hemos tenido.
Gang.
Okay. Y también ella es la madrina de este pod. La madrina.
Hey. Hola, la madrina in the building.
We are so happy to have you. If y'all haven't noticed, that is
Jordine Moore. I was on which episode? I think episode
4 or 5, I believe.
One of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a great time, so I'm so excited to be back.
We are so happy to have you back. So you have a lot of strong opinions regarding what we're talking about. And so we wanted to make sure that when we discussed this, we brought you in. She's also one of our travel buddies when we went to go see Benito live. So a little bit of her recap travel with us as well. So we're going to have everything. Like I said, este episodio es todo Benito Martínez Ocasio.
Tenemos que entrar rapidito, porque como Wilma dijo, aquí muchísimo de qué hablar.
Okay.
Y Wilma,
diga.
¿Por dónde empezamos? ¿Por una más?
Por una más.
Vamos a hacer una más.
Yes. So we knew that he was going to have a show, but we didn't know to how he was going to have it, right? So there was always like rumors that maybe another canal was going to pick it up. But when Amazon, which we are not sponsored by, said yes. Speaking to existence, Madrina.
Come on. Yes.
There was so much like hype around this one particular one. So the last función, Josie, I, and Jay were on Instagram refreshing every 2 seconds because we thought that was the last one, right? And so we were like, oh my God, who's going to bring out? And it was a wonderful close to those 30 functions. Pero 31 was something so special. Something so special. So it was on Amazon Prime. I believe they started at 8:30. It was sponsored by Method E. Calvin Klein.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored by us yet. And they put on the full show that Saturday night. Jay, how did you feel?
You would have thought I never went to PR to see him.
Right?
I told my daughter, because she loves Bad Bunny now, she hits the notes.
Okay.
She's 4, and baby girl sings her heart out. But you would have thought that we did not go to the concert in PR. Okay, if I wasn't as tired because we had a busy day that day, I would have wore the same outfit I wore to the concert. All right, I wanted to come to my compadre's house because they were gonna like have a watch party to do it, and I was gonna go full in like we've never seen this man 2 weeks before. Okay,
Right, that was only just like 2 weeks ago.
Like, and I don't know what he did, but he sprinkled something addicting in that concert.
It's called culture.
Come on, it's our song.
Sofrito.
Okay, when he put whatever he put in there, I want more. Like, I really hope he drops more PR, dates. But anyway, the show. First of all, being in the arena you felt it was different, right? To see it on TV, but to see it got better, and I didn't think that was possible. And to feel all the feels I felt, when I was at the show through the TV, it's Oscar worthy. I need him to be nominated for Oscar.
Tú sabes lo que más me gustó de esto fue que la gente que no pudo ir de Puerto Rico tuvo la oportunidad de ver, pero lo más que a mí me encantó es ver a la diáspora. La diáspora se gozó este concierto como nunca. Hubo paris en todos lados. O sea, la gente se fue all in. Si tú entrabas en TikTok, tú podías ver cómo la gente hizo su casa. Me acordó mucho como en la isla, los fines de semana tú decías, para casa de quién es el party, right? It felt literally like that. And it was so cool to like actually see that, pero en la diáspora, like everybody llegando con su platito, qué sé yo, de appetizer o con su queso con guayaba, like everything was there. And like the theme, like even people were getting so creative, like creando la camarita, right? Like it was so cool. Like even like people like us that went to the concert, like yo me quiero llevar esa camarita, yo la quiero tener como si yo estuviera ahí. So it was so cool to see that. Y ver cómo la gente se disfrutó. Pero el concierto, háblenme del concierto, aunque nosotros fuimos, ¿cómo fue la experiencia de verlo?
I was so excited to see him because like we had all traveled together, but my husband didn't get a chance to go to the concert. So it was really great to like explain like, la referencia cultural. Por ejemplo, cuando viene la chamaquita hablando sobre la cámara y el metaphor for that being like culture and explaining that to him. I couldn't wait to Julito get on y aplicarle el tambor to him, and like how that like basically get to explain to him like that's the heartbeat of the show. You're gonna see that. So it was just a lot of like great like references to be able to give me because I've already seen it before, and like how it was gonna translate. First of all, these cameras were beautiful. The way they captured the show in a way that like como si tú fuera, except for the audio in the beginning that pissed me off.
It's another thing.
Pero we persevered. The imagery of it all, right? El stanofanabico, like everything being able to see that, like, and explaining that again to him, right? Like, why is the mountain important? The trees, everything of like that, like giving that explanation to him was like super super important for him to understand like why was this like, because he was there when we came back from the concert, and he was just like, how was it? And like me being able to explain that to him after just seeing it versus like sitting down, so it was just like he kept asking like, where's the house, right? I know there's a house, and I'm like, oh, that comes at this part of the show. So like being able to give him like that play by play, pero también teniendo como que quién va a traer was also like, for this 31st show, who are you going to bring out, right? Like we all were speculative of Tego or another one of the greats, but we had our moment también. We were going to get into that. We're going to get there though. We're going to get there. Pero Jay, Pati, like how was it once you finally like, I know that you were excited about it, like did the baby girl watch it as well too? Did you let her stay up?
Yes. So I definitely let her stay up. But touching back when you said about your husband, so my husband also didn't go. We were only allowed to get 6 tickets, so they stayed, and they were completely fine with that. They had their own day. But to watch it at home with him, and then talk about our experience when we went to PR, because this is our 3rd time going to PR, and the first 2 times we went to a wedding, so we weren't able to like soak up the
Experience.
culture, experience it, right? So this time we went up in the mountains and we did the bus.
The Chinchorreo bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were able to...
we need to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we talk about our experience, but you
Yes.
Okay,
So
go
we were
for
able
it.
to do the bus, right? I always say it wrong, so I'm gonna say the bus. So excuse me, okay? But so when we did that and we drove through a few campos, and one of the last stops was Patillas, where my grandma's from. So that moment, oh my God, my aunt sisters were happy that
she meets ancestors, y'all. Jay has her own language. We're working on her. We're working on it.
Yes, but it just felt so surreal, and like I felt like when I was on the bus and I was seeing the views of the mountains, that I felt like someone just gut punched me. Like I had no air in me. I was speechless. It was literally breathtaking. So to see the concert and seeing the mountains, right, of the set, and then experience it with my husband, who also was on the bus with us, that was just like a full circle moment, and he was able to appreciate it too. He was like, wow, he really went so far, a stage we've never seen ever, to do this in a residency in PR where he's from. My husband was mind blown too, like speechless. So to experience that and for him to understand it was absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. Awesome. Understand it, sin hablar español, okay? Because good music is felt.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Those who feel some type of way for the Super Bowl announcement, which we're gonna get there. Like he said on SNL, you got 4 months. He said it.
He did.
You got 4 months to learn the language. He told them.
He
told them people Duolingo, Rosetta Stone,
not Duolingo.
Google Maps. Español sin barreras. The opposite. Él le dijo, pero no, it was so great. And then we get to la casita for uno más. Y'all, I never jump up so fast in my apartment. Poor Taj was so confused. What I heard, I'm sorry, was that after Joely Grande? First of all, Salgo de la Calle came out, and I was like, texting Josie, this my shit. Yo, that song does some disrespectful ratchet things to me, okay? Y después como que salieron más y más y más. Yeah. And I was just and Diane, mira nuestros reggaeton Avengers formaron. Yo, we was having a good. First of all, how are we texting each other? Like, we're not just seeing this. Like, we also didn't just see it. Our group chat amongst each other was just hilarious that night. Like, it was going. Pero Diane, dígame tú de la casita, especialmente con los Avengers reggaetoneros.
So, ¿qué digo intro? ¿Qué no lo he hecho hoy? Pues mira, yo me quedé como que, wow. Y después del concierto vi una foto que pusieron por las redes donde pudimos ver que ya este junto se había dado.
Yeah.
Right? Y it was so cool to see how, and I continue to learn about things about Benito. Mind blowing, right? Because pueden decir lo que quieran de él, pueden no, estar en el mismo ideal que él, but like, que ha hecho cosas grandes, right? Y yo creo que ver cómo él le da la oportunidad a todo el orgullo, ¿verdad? Que siente por esta gente que fue quien creó el movimiento ayudó al movimiento de reggaeton. Bueno, me quiero meter en aguas calientes con todo el mundo. But es como si eso fuera la casa de Bad Bunny y él nos dejó entrar. Right? Y él nos enseñó el tipo de persona que es él por permitir estar cerca del público como lo hizo. Like, I don't think any artist has done something like this, right? He wanted to bring these people to enjoy el party.
Absolutely.
Y fue brutal ver a todas estas artistas tan cerca de la gente y disfrutándose del movimiento.
Girl.
Okay, go it.
Girl. Es que estaba demasiado brutal, for sure. Cuando el vestido. First of all, let's go back another layer. He's also doing this on the anniversary of Huracán María.
Yes.
Right? So, like, there's this other presence, right? And yo misma even, like, how was he going to commemorate this show?
Do you think that was on purpose?
I think so. Maybe so.
Yes. Everything he does is calculated.
I think so. And I think also was on purpose not performing una velita.
Why?
Because I think that he wanted to mark this with a joyous celebration and not a somber one, right? Like I think the resilience was on display, the celebration was on display, right? What we have overcome, the resilience and the celebration was about that. We can mourn, and we are, and I think that nuestro amistad and nuestras familiares, ellos viven con la constancia, like recuerdo de María daily, right? With, you know, the energy crisis that's over there and everything else that's going on. I don't think that he needed to remind them of that. I think that this was about, look at lo logramos, right?
Lo que podemos
Because
hacer también.
lo que podemos
How we
hacer,
overcame.
right? Not only that what we can do, but look, because I don't think he sees this as him doing it himself. Because this is such a love letter to the culture. It's like, I'm here because of you, right? That's why like La Casita is so important, right? Because it's like, it's not about me in this moment. I'm sitting here watching it in awe as a fan as well when these folks come out. So I think that it was very strategic for him not to play una velita, but instead tiene bomba, tiene plena in the show, right? With lo pleno de, first of all, lo que dijo lo pleno de la cresta, like that right in itself was super, like, that was all we needed, the mic drop right there, right? So there was so much already on display for that I don't think that it was necessary para esa canción, you know, to like, I think it would have brought the energy down. And this and I want to be respectful in that, not in the sense of like, this concert already invokes so much emotion, right?
It is a roller coaster.
It is a roller coaster that I think that probably would have been something he wouldn't be able to bring back up, right? And so I think that was a conscious moment to be like, you know, if he's gonna perform that song, I think that he's gonna be conscious of how he performs it and when he performs it. And it might have just been, I needed to throw that song out there in that moment, but I don't know. And I think that's also probably why it's not on the record. Right? Because even I thought about it when he threw the record out, like, you know, ¿y dónde está una velita? Like, he just threw that song before the club, you know what I mean? Like, where is it? And I think that it was probably on purpose of being like, no, I'm not gonna do, you know, this is this lane, this is the love letter to the culture right here. We're not gonna bring that pain in this space right now, right? So a compartmentalization of it.
And also what you were saying, I don't know if he were to able to do that, like you said, to bring people back to celebrate it. Because you remember that image going around La Casita and it looked like the hurricane hit it?
Yeah.
And I saw that, I was emotional. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna perform this at his last show and I'm not gonna boo-hoo cry for a week. I was already an emotional wreck. So I'm happy he didn't do that, because that would have been very heavy. And not a positive note to end it. Like, yes, you want to celebrate everybody, but we have, you know, songs that he does that, you know, helps us
For sure
remember our family members. So
I think it was about the resilience, right?
Yep.
That night was about the resilience and the celebration, and I think that was very strategic of him to do that. But yeah, we got some incredible moments from La Casita, and with Lo Planero saying that those amazing words of what they said about, you know, our educators on the island, and just the deserving of una vida digna, right? Like, that was just, again, everything that's being done, all the people that he aligns himself with are aligned with the ideals of a progressive and a movement forward for our culture and the island. And Josie, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was like, I don't know if somebody gonna come out, you know, when he's saying este lo que le pasó a Hawaii el mismo. I was like, okay, he's wrapping it up. That's it. You know, he's done it perfectly. And then we got
Pero espérate. Porque tenemos que hablar de lo que pasó en Hawái.
sí, okay.
Like, ¿por qué él cerró el ciclo?
I think that and I think it was something that me and you were talking about off the pod. Like, it had to have been him, right? Like, it had to have been him of being like, this was my idea, this was my thought process, and it made sense for me to close out on the last show, me singing this song, because this is the rally cry that I'm putting out there, right? For him, for us. I think it made sense too, but also because tenía algo. He had something under his sleeve too. He had that ace in the hole with what he did. But I think it was important for him to just be like, no, I'm going to sing this last one out for my show. It's going to come from me. And he even said it like, when he sings it, like, okay, yeah, it may give him a thing, but he feels it more when other people interpreted it. Like, and I think that that's also probably why it was a control for him, being like, if somebody sings this and says, well, I'm not going to be able to come back and finish out this show. Pero Jay, somebody came in, one of our family members.
Espérate, because she said the prediction.
I did.
So we were going back and forth about who will be like de los invitados. And I remember when we were going to the concert, we were going like, oh, ¿quién va a estar ahí? And la madrina had this prediction. Mark Anthony.
Our Theo, our collective Theo.
Let me tell you, when we were going to our concert on August 30th, 31st, I prayed to Papa Dios y Frita. Okay. Please let my Theo perform. Please, God. Oh, my God. And granted, we had phenomenal people come out on our show. We had Ozuna and Luis Fonsi. But, Papa Dios had and Frita had bigger plans. So they had to end it with Mark Anthony. So I'm not gonna lie, that show, Una Mas, was very long. They were in La Casita for about 8 hours. I'm like, this is a long house party. I took a nap. I took my baby girl down and I said, Mike, call me because I know Mark is gonna show up. This is before we knew.
Oh, so you know,
I had a feeling.
He called you.
Yeah. Papa Dios and Mark called me. So I took a nap and Mike was like, all right, I'm gonna wake you up if Mark was on stage. So, but I put metal down. I didn't even take a nap. So I came downstairs and maybe 10 minutes later, Bad Bunny was on the stage. And then I heard Preciosa come on, the beat. I'm like, but then I didn't see Mark. I'm like, wait, don't play with my emotions. Do not. So then I said a prayer in our chat. 5 minutes later, the God I serve, he answers. You hear quickly, okay? So then Mark, little skinny self, came down. Ooh, I screamed. Me and Mike, my husband, he is Africa America, okay? And he loves Mark. When Mark goes to AC, we are there, okay? Front and center. We love that little man, okay? That big voice. So I called it. So I love how he did it. Because you don't have Mark on a regular, the second show or fifth show. You end it with that song, like
that patriarchal song. So I'm jumping around my apartment like a lunatic, like like trying to find my bandera because I was also packing. So I was like, I don't know where was it, but I, of course, like a true Puerto Rican that I am, I have backup banderas. So
it's under your pillow.
It's actually in the kitchen in one of my little things. Anyway, that's none of y'all business. So, tan cantando, and like I just start crying, and I'm just swaying back and forth. La letra de la canción, and then also the realization of you're sharing the stage with one of the most beloved diasporicans, singing a beautiful song to the island. And it's just this, like, I love la letra que dice de Preciosa, por herencias con por mis padres, la llevo en la sangre. And that's like the stamp of like, whether here or on the moon, right? This is what I'm going to carry with me all the time. And can't nobody take it from me, especially because on social media for leading up to, the Uno Mas, there's been a lot of discourse on our like TikToks about a lot of people leaving messages about like what it is to be Puerto Rican, and of course it might be the algorithm shaping, and it's been very disheartening. I think that we can do a better job of recognizing that we all have this central love for the island and our culture. So it was a beautiful moment to see, an absolutely beautiful moment, and you can tell the admiration and el respeto mutual.
Yes.
Entre los dos, right? Like, you could just see Mark just stops singing and it's like, puñeta! Fun fact, Jay's favorite word. Would not stop saying it on the trip. Like, just
Rhode Island.
So, like, you know, you're just seeing how they're both soaking up
Mm.
this moment.
Mm.
And then it's like, oh, we have to perform. Like, right, we're here to do a job.
Mm.
So, like, they're super, super excited and happy. And
Mhm.
I was just like, yes, that's what it
Mhm.
means to be Puerto Rican, right?
Mm.
And I think me and Josie shared a clip after the show of people singing Preciosa in Yabucoa. They were having a watch party, and you can hear it from like up in the mountains. Like la gente, it was beautiful. It was like, wow, this is what brings like us together. Outside of politics, outside of everything, we can all agree the love for our country and our culture. And that was an absolute beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Pero, Josie, como resident isleña, how did this feel for you?
Pues mira, ¿qué te cuento? Porque es que tengo muchas cosas. Primero, first of all, la gente diciendo que Papá no tiene buena voz. In this one,
Where?
He showed, like, que ha tomado sus clases de canto, que se ha dedicado, you know, él es un performer, ¿me entiendes? Que diga que él no es un performer, he's a performer. Pero también se está mejorando él como performer, como artista. Y el hecho que él dijo, voy a cantar una canción que hace 20 años yo no cantaba. I was like,
Well, he said that.
todo el mundo como like, 20 años. Like,
Start doing the math.
Pero cuando empezó con la canción de Preciosa, like, fue los parapelos de todo el mundo, ¿verdad? Also, lo más que me emocionó de ese momento fue, como tú dices, como él dejó para lo último un disco que él dice para todos los puertorriqueños alrededor del mundo. Right? So he used a uno de los artistas que es más, es de los Estados Unidos, right? Y tiene herencia puertorriqueña. Y usar esa conexión es el bridge que él usó a través del único concierto de este tour que lo televisan a través del mundo. So, you know, he says it right there, like, no importa donde tú estés, right? Estés en la luna, tú vas a seguir siendo puertorriqueño.
Absolutely.
Esta isla, you know, te quiere, you know, y te quiere aquí también. So it was so beautiful seeing ya que sí, nací en la isla y estoy fuera en la diáspora, lloré, porque es como que te dicen, like, como en el concierto también lloré, fue un poco de emotions, pero verlo aquí y ver cómo él sigue poniendo a la isla primero, un artista número 1 en el mundo, que no tenía por qué hacerlo. He could go and do another trap album, right? Or he could go and do un verano sin 2.0.
Right.
The fact that él dijo, no, yo quiero hacer esto porque es lo que me llena. Like, I need to tell my culture, like, we're estamos cabrón, ¿entiendes?
Es que Puerto Rico
estamos cabrón y este mundo tiene que verlo. Tiene que verlo. Si yo tengo la plataforma, porque soy el cantante mundial, lo voy a demostrar desde aquí. Algo que, y I'm gonna segue in one of the other things that we want to talk about like, la entrevista con Residente. Dice, something that me encantó, porque dice, a mí no me importaba what this album was going to do, right? He was like, este álbum yo lo hice porque yo quería. Right? Digo, este álbum yo no sabía, yo pensé que si se iba a quedar aquí en Puerto Rico, be fine, porque era bien centralizado en Puerto Rico.
Absolutely.
Y ver como canciones que él ni sabía, como debí tirar más fotos, se hizo
Tan global.
trending. Right? La gente empezó a usarla con otro significado. Para él fue bien emocionante. Something that it tells you a lot about him is like, él puede, como él dice, él puede ser feliz, seguir cantando solamente en Puerto Rico. He's content with that. And hearing somebody say that, es como yo digo, like, wow, muchas veces nosotros queremos más y más y más y más, ¿verdad? Y tú vienes y ves al artista, claro, tú tienes los chavitos que yo necesito, ¿verdad? Pero, like, ver a él como él se siente contento, diciendo, like, no importa si yo voy a seguir haciendo mi fama, yo me quiero quedar aquí, yo quiero seguir echando a mi país para adelante. Y estoy contenta, right? Y muchos de nosotros que estamos fuera, Ese es el ideal. Muchas veces tú puedes escuchar a mi papá, por ejemplo, dice, yo me retiro el año que viene porque Puerto Rico. It doesn't happen yet, but go. And hearing that, it's like this pride that we have, que yo en algún momento, como yo lo he dicho, yo no entendía el por qué. Ahora, cuando tú te empiezas a educar un poco más, tú entiendes el por qué. ¿Por qué esto es importante? ¿Por qué teniendo la plataforma que él tiene, él la está usando para eso? So it's just beautiful. You know, I cried a lot. And overall, I cried a lot. Eso es lo único que puedo decir. Se me paraban los pelos, ver los videos de la diáspora cuando sale Mark Anthony. You know that? It's so interesting because that day of the concert, like everybody's looking at the concert, and then at the aftermath, tú vas en social media y tú ves a toda esta gente, ver los videos de la gente cuando Mark sale. Why did I cry?
Yeah, beautiful.
Like, ver esa conexión que la gente.
That's such a great connector, right? Like, that is so true. And it's also this, like, para los otros es como que you saw us, right? In picking him, you saw us. You saw us in a way that we are constantly fighting to feel whole within our culture, right? Like, you get to say gracias, mami, papi, por nacer aquí. I didn't have that privilege, right? I didn't have that choice. My mom and dad, unfortunately, had to leave the island for their respective reasons. They gave birth to me here. Do you think I wanted to be born in Camden, New Jersey? No. I would have loved to be. Enough of y'all. You know, I would have loved el privilegio de decir que, sí, quizás, you know, maybe they would have met in Yabucoa, maybe they would have met in Ponce, or in the middle, in Juana Diaz. I don't know, right? I would have loved that privilege of that, but I don't have that, right? So it was this feeling of like, we're seen, and this is a call into us as well, right? Like, you're not distinctive. And again, right, the rhetoric of online of like, si tú no hablas español, no es boricua. Si tú no naciste aquí, es que so exhausting, because I want to be like, at the end of the day, we love this culture and we love this island, and also you say these things with such a lack of understanding of how things get passed down in survival, right? Just like you're in survival on the island, there was a survival here in the States that isn't always talked about, right? And I think it's on purpose for sure, but it was just this beautiful space to be seen, because I don't know how many Mark Anthony records I done learned front to back since I can speak and learn, speak and write and read Spanish and English and learn how to dance salsa. Like, I remember long hair Mike, you know what I mean?
Yes, with the glasses.
Yes. You know, like, that was the first record of what he, which one he did, the Juanga song, hasta que te conocí. Learning that song, you couldn't tell me I didn't write that song the way I was singing right along with Mark. But then also too, like Conte la Corriente, or the other one, right? Like, no hay nadie como ella. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that these are the soundtracks of my life here on the you know, in the diaspora. And also to see how he has always been authentically Puerto Rican, right? Like, even when he had crossover success in English later on in his career, that it's refreshing both to see that Bad came onto the scene not craving this like crossover attention, right? Like, I remember his first interviews being like, I don't understand what she's saying because somebody's, you know what I mean? And like, so now, yes, he has his English mejorado, whatever the case is, like, but there is this like, I'm here, this is who I am, this is who I'm authentically going to be, and not this desire to and I'm trying to find the politically correct ways of saying this. Of not just being like, I come from here and I can leave this. His career has always been, I'm taking this with me. In the same aspect of that of Mark. But before we get into any more discourse, we're gonna pick it up with Jay. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we will pick up with the rest of the conversations.
So I just want to touch on the Mark and Bad Bunny sharing the stage again. So Wilma, you mentioned them, you know, handing over from or acknowledging the diaspora to the island life. I view that as handing it down to another generation of Mark handing the baton to Bad Bunny. Even though Bad Bunny had him, you know, invited him to share the stage with him, it just signified like, you know, that song came out in 1999. So I'm not good at math, but however many years it is, it's a lot, right? It's 26 years.
Yeah.
So for that to still have that same impact, especially where we are now because of Bad Bunny and the work he's done it to, propel, PR and people wanting to go and really like celebrate who they are. Although Puerto Ricans have been the most prideful people in the world, okay? My comforter today is comforter is a Puerto Rican flag, okay? My aunt's husband, baby, his ringtone's a coquí, all right? So the pride.
Not too
is
much on our time producer.
So the pride has always been there, but Bad Bunny, made it so much more bigger and greater. So to share the stage with Mark, I thought that just signified something so much bigger than us. So that's why it was such, an impact on so many people. And then the last thing was Bad Bunny doing it his way. Like he started off as whatever he wanted to do. His style change. He never gave not one boop about anything. Okay. And that's just a reminder for anybody. Do what you want to do because you want to do it. You don't have to change. He never cared. Even now, people, especially certain people, are mad that he's doing the Super Bowl, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but he doesn't care. He's still doing it his way. And look at the amount of people who support you. People who really love you are going to support you regardless. Some people are going to hate it. That doesn't mean you have to change. So he is just
authentically him. Yeah, authentically him.
In a lot of words, yes. And I appreciate him. So thank you, Benito.
I love that you brought up the generation because I think that was also like the big thing, right? And that's also something he talked about with René, which we're going to segue into, which is that this record was cross-generational, right? Like there were records that he referenced that like maybe you may not like Bad Bunny because of what he says and like that, but a kid can say, "Papi, look, I have this record that we can both like and share," or one of like with elder generation. And I think that level of intention is important because even with my mom, like she doesn't like Bad Bunny or she doesn't really like a lot of reggaeton, but Baile No Bailable, baby, okay? She gonna kick a little cute 1-2 step in the kitchen, okay? Or just even like to go back to Uno Mas, the next day I was packing up and Amazon Prime was allowing it to be played for the next 24 hours. And she had got home around the time where the salsa portion is. Why was she so glued to that TV?
Yeah.
She was so glued to that TV, and like it brought on conversations that my mom usually shares to me. Like, my mom is from Ponce, and so she would always famously tell us,
Ponce.
Y lo demás es
Parque.
But she talked to me a lot about like when she was in school and how like she would miss the bus on purpose when like the planeros or like they were coming out to like perform and like she would purposely stay behind and then like hustle for that quarter to get on the public car because she had to go home. And like just hearing that, you can just see like she is transfixed, she is transformed, she is that listening to the band, she's like, wow, suena bien, like like she's just so impressed, right? And you're telling me she's scanning to see like if she even recognizes anybody. And I'm like, nah, these was all new. And I'm explaining to her these are all young kids, that they put together. And she's like, wow, que suenan super bien. Like this is really, really good. And I was telling her like it sounded even better in person to see it, hear it live, right? And I think she was seeing it at the part where I forget the kid's name that plays the keys. But see, just listening to mommy's stories and her being super like hyped about like la orchestra, she was just like, wow. And then I'm like, I was explaining to her too. I was like, if they go on tour and we want to come back, I would love to share that because I also brought my mom to see Mark Anthony when he came out a few years ago to Atlantic City. And so like just being able to share music. So like I love that point of view saying of it being multi-generational. Diane, vamos a darle un segue. We were literally talking about what we were going to do for the pod. And literally 2 hours ago, when we were saying that, this Billboard interview came out with Residente, which we have like alluded to it and like talked about it throughout this episode. I love that he more than likely chose René to be the interviewer. I love the flow and the comfortability of like two friends having questions, even though it was like guided questions. But I love the flow of it. And we've talked about wanting more from this experience and him being able to give those tidbits. Like, for instance, starting with the scenery, he started with the mountain. Like, he knew he wanted the mountain. And then he even discussed like having the billboard and how like that doesn't really go and it messes up the nature, but knowing that he also had used billboard prior to, you know, and things of that nature, having something to say, and then even like all the little details of like the greenery, the fog, and then the house, right? Like he wanted it to feel like that typical house, the Puerto Rico that's inviting, where you know we're having a good time. So like I loved getting all of those tidbits of that, but also like just this like I don't know, Diane, pero como que para mí, como que he was experiencing this right along with us. Right? Like, I think for him, it was just kind of like this, like, wow, y'all really love this. Y'all love this thing that we put together. And like him being like super duper, like impressed and being hyped about it. But I know for me, Diane, I got really excited because what he said that the music between him y los sobrinos isn't done.
Yeah.
And if a salsa album is what he wants to do, baby, I got my shoes.
I will go practice today. Okay, where's my compadre?
Okay, and a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3. And that's probably why Baile Olvidable is showing y'all, get ready.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a perfect tease.
Is you see these people getting ready to learn? Get ready. I loved it. So, a mí, me encanté hablar y escuchar a él, los dos, right? And back and forth, and just like having those tidbits of like everything that he thought about in bringing this together. Even like the set list and how that comes to be, and like being meticulous and like what's going to be played out. What did you get from that interview?
De la entrevista, lo que yo te tengo que decir es que me encantó que fue René primero. No sabía qué tan cercanos ellos eran. Yo sabía que había una amistad. But like the fact that he allowed Billboard to do the interview, do this sincere interview, because it was like so like they were talking as friends. Y algo que me llamó mucho la atención fue y que yo tenía curiosidad era que él empezó con el proyecto de la residencia con la montaña, how you said, right? But like todo fue bien orgánico, como él lo dijo, like muchas veces nosotros pensamos que él es bien like he's very like he's like 3 years or 4 years ahead of us in a way, and he says in this interview like no, it was just that each piece fall in place, right? And it was so interesting to hear that because uno piensa que él está como que 100 años luz más que nosotros, right? Y él lo dijo con el álbum también, like this album is like, yeah, I started looking for like I need music, necesito músico, y empezó a buscar y decía, I don't care who you are, right? Yo quiero sentir tu música. And when he said that, I was like, yo, that's like so real. Like, mucha gente que, como nosotros jóvenes, que siempre estamos pensando en que yo quiero ser como fulano de tal, right? And here you can see that he was like, no, I don't care. You have 20 years in the industry. I don't care. Like if I'm not feeling what you're like, what you're providing, no lo quiero.
Right.
Y el hecho de que se fue en TikTok, first of all,
Gosh, yes.
y que empezó a buscar en TikTok y ve a este muchachito de 12 años dándole a los tambores y he was running that orquesta. He's like, who is this kid?
And not being able to find him.
Not being able to find him. Come to find out, mira cómo es la vida. Porque cuando está para ti, está para ti. ¿Ok? Mira cómo es la vida. Que él dice, mira, encontramos, se nos va a ser bien difícil encontrar gente. We need a director. Y encuentran un director. Y llegan a la escuela libre de música. Y allí encuentran a Julito Gastón.
Wow. El mismo chamaquito del video.
El mismito. So it's just so crazy, right? Because es cuando la visión, como él lo dice, like todo encajó. Because like, yeah, esto es lo que yo quería y aquí lo encontré y por aquí me voy. Yeah, había un montón de cosas que tuvimos que pasar, pero llegamos a donde tenía que llegar. Y ver que usó talento nativo de Puerto Rico, right? Pero talento nuevo, como estabas diciendo, like tu mamá estaba buscando con quién like, oh, yo conozco fulano, and it's like, muchas veces yo creo que nuestra generación, lo más probable, no hizo un buen trabajo en seguir that tradición, right? Like, yo me crié escuchando salsa y merengue por mi mamá, por mi papá, but I don't think my daughter can say the same thing, right? Like, now, like, heck, you're gonna listen to Baile Inolvidable, y si hay un disco con los, con los sobrinos, yes, you're gonna listen to that because I'm gonna be blasting it out, pero, tú sabes, yo creo que por eso es la conexión, y eso fue lo que yo creo que lo hizo más unique, right? Because it's like raw talent from the island that they're passionate about.
Hungry.
Yeah, but están passionate about something que ellos se criaron con eso. Right? Like, not a lot of people can say that. Y yo creo que por eso es que lo hizo tan único. Y ver cómo las piezas quedaron y decir, oh, vamos, ¿qué tal si traemos la casita? Right? And how he made it his. Por eso yo lo estaba diciendo anteriormente. It's like, he made that casita, like, he would go out there and he would chill with the people that were there. Right? He's like, ¿quieres café? ¿Quieres esto? ¿Quieres lo otro? Like, and that's how you do when you have people at your house, right? Like, when you go to somebody's like, ¿comiste? ¿Tienes hambre? You know? Like, it's just felt like that. Like, the whole vision is just like about, again, is the culture connection because él se crió con eso. Right? Y yo creo que eso es lo que muchas veces nosotros como que nos olvidamos de que nos queremos alejar tanto de nuestra cultura por encajar que se nos olvida lo unique que nosotros somos, right? And I think that's what I got from the interview. Me encantó mucho cuando dijo eso, like, este disco fue una carta para los puertorriqueños, ¿verdad? Este disco, una disquera me hubiera dicho, like, don't put that, cuando él dijo, en el disco lo dice, este disco es para todos los puertorriqueños alrededor del mundo. Like, him saying that, a label will say, like, don't do that, because you're niching, right? You're niching it. Él dijo como que, like, no me importa eso, ¿verdad? Porque esto es lo que yo siento y esto es lo que yo quiero expresar a través del arte. Y escuchar que él hizo eso y decirlo, like, wow, para él es más importante enseñarle al mundo where I'm from.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
That like, okay, whatever. If this album is not gonna make it, it's not gonna make it. But it did. ¿Y dónde lo llevó?
I also love the conversation he had with his mom about like him feeling like he didn't want his light to dim, and she was just, as long as you are authentically you will continue to shine. And I think that was such a beautiful exchange, and also like a very forethought of him probably like a veces nosotros tenemos como el genio para saber un poquito más de allá, and I think that was probably his like ability to be like, if am I gonna go further in this career, I don't want to lose sight of me, right? Like that forebodings of knowing like he's probably going to be asked to do certain things he may not want to because he has to be in this industry, right? And her being like, no, you continue to be who you are, like your light is going to continue to shine. So that was also like a beautiful tidbit, and also to keep it with the family. And they had asked him like, what moments in what songs like from the album like really like touches you, and he named things like purista, like it transforms and stuff like that. But like when he talked about the Más Fotos, about like that one night that he actually spent the whole day playing dominoes with his grandfather, and so like when he goes to say that line, I believe there are clips of him being super emotional because like that's literally what he did, right? Like and being able to still do that. So like just like that, right? With himself, our Pisces king, he gonna have emotions. But like that was like also really really cool to be like, because there's moments that I want to say there's like a few moments of different times throughout the 31 now functions where he did get super emotional in singing songs. He talks about La Mudanza being one of them. I love the question of like, cuando traiga a Hosto para atrás, what song would they play? Chambea. Say chambea. But he did say la mudanza, but also, what does it mean when they trae justo para atrás? That's what was really like not thrown there. I love the way they kind of like backdoored it in a way, because that means we will be independent. But no, it was really, really dope. I like you said, I love Rene, and they had that rapport, because there are even like things that are like, oh, we'll talk about this off camera, because like I love when you know discernment. Like not everything needs to be, you know, out there on the record. Like there's some things, there's some mystery. Like even with Jay Wheeler, right? Like he said, like, I'm not gonna expose the whole conversation, but he gave us that one tidbit that Bad gave him, which was, you know, sigue disfrutando de las bendiciones de Dios. Like that was beautiful. And I think that that was also something necessary for folks to hear about him. Like they want to put everything awful on this person, and it's like you can't when you really are walking in your truth and you're and delighting in that presence. You look crazy trying to like take that off, right? But it was an hour-long interview. I listened to it 3 times. What about you?
Pues mira, tuve que escucharla varias veces porque había muchísimas cosas dentro de la entrevista que yo decía, yo escuché bien. ¿Right? Y lo más que me gustó es, pero espérate, que tengo que decir esta parte antes que se me olvide. Ellos estaban tomando ¿qué? Café. ¿Ok? So, simplemente tengo que poner como esos drops ahí, porque eso es lo que nosotros siempre hacemos cuando estamos aquí haciendo el pod. Pero lo más que me gustó también fue que es ver lo humano, ¿verdad? Lo humano que una persona tan grande como él, y él lo dijo, él le dice, yo no me quería como que convertir o meterme en la cabeza, like, I have to be number one always, right?
I love that,
He said that, he's like, este álbum, yo no sabía, ni me importaba, porque no me importa ser el número 1, right? Yo estoy dando mi mejor trabajo, y eso es lo que está hablando por mí. And I think that's something that a lot of us, like, we have to, like, think about that, ¿verdad? Porque muchas veces nosotros queremos ser, like, the best of the best of the best, y queremos ser el número 1, pero no podemos irnos de ahí, right? So I think, yo creo que de ahí es donde yo digo, like, wow, él no le importaba ser el número 1, él simplemente quería que su arte hablara.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what, that was one of the big things, you know, y escuchar también que cómo él hizo que esos 31 shows, él se sintió tan feliz. Like how this residency for him is like, it has been the best show that I have done, right? Or experience, yeah. Porque fue en su casa y se sentía tan cómodo y pudo demostrarle al mundo a través de su residencia, que nadie ha hecho algo así en Puerto Rico, ayudar al país a la economía y también demostrar el talento, que eso es lo más importante.
Y hablando de la economía, I love how René didn't even care to talk about that part.
No.
Él dijo sobre eso, la impacto cultural.
Yes.
That was so big to like make sure, and I was hoping like please don't throw out numbers, because like I don't care about the millions, the billions. Like this was so much more impactful because of the cultural aspect, and I'm so glad that René was just like, you know, sí, podemos hablar sobre de los números, pero el impacto cultural, la importancia. I think that was like such a great way of like encompassing something big that he has done, and like you said, nobody has done this before. Because nobody has done this before. And I'm going to close out with No me quiero ir de aquí. And what did that mean for him? Because it had multiple meanings, right?
Yes.
It was, I don't want to leave here. And even he says it now, like, I'm about to go on a world tour and I still don't want to leave here, you know? Like, I don't want to leave the stage. I don't want to leave, you know, from the island in just to, like, God forbid if I had to, you know? Like, so it had, like, this, like, it grew in multiple aspects. And so I'm going to pass this off to Jay, and then we're going to take a quick break and go to our next topic.
So really quick, so woman, you touched on the world tour. I am very curious to see how he's going to replicate.
Me too.
Like the set, because ain't no way you going to have this mountain in Japan, Paris. So how is that going to be? Right. And then the second one is, so yes, he did a residency, and my husband and I were talking this morning on another podcast he watched. They're African American, so everybody's talking about it. It's the hottest thing ever, and they're like, "What Bad Bunny done? What has done is impeccable." And they said he's setting a trend. And I was talking to my husband. I said, "I don't know if anyone else can replicate this, because yes, I love Beyonce, but she's not going to have that cultural impact of us going to Houston as we are going to PR. What are your thoughts?
I think that is, first of all, good thought, great conversation about the Moore
Come
household.
on. Yeah, we think. Okay.
But I think that again, like for instance, with the Beyonce, I think this was like, the Cowboy Carter. That was her going like back to her roots, and I think that what we saw was a discourse of folks being like, "You're still not country enough, right?"
Yes.
And so we, within this country, we had to have that conversation and that dialogue of what does it mean about Black music and its origins, right? So, and what she has propelled with these 3 acts, well, 2 acts out of the 3, because we still haven't gotten Act 3 yet. But like that was a cultural indicator from Renaissance, 100%. Right? Well, no, from Lemonade, because she had a country song on that. What is it, Daddy's Lessons or something like that? And her having to fight with being like, I am this, I'm all these things because of the roots. So I think that there's that. Maybe like not setting up a residency as of yet, but I think that there is room for folks. I think this gives a license to folks to say, be who you are.
Yes, 100%.
Right? You don't have to be cogged in the machine. You don't have to do the gimmicks. Because first of all, your audience can see through the quote unquote performative. Like, granted, yes, you are performing, but this like not authentic, this cash grab. See what happens when you cook and you build something and you're not on live arguing about what's inspiration. When your album makes sense, you get to sit there and enjoy. I'm trying to be better. But this is the thing. So like back to the Moore's original question, 2-part question. I think that you can take Puerto Rico, quote unquote, on tour the way he is. Okay. I think that you can set, because I think 100%. Especially when you go to the Latin countries, you can understand this. There is this understanding of what it likes to be in rural versus being in the metro area of every country. On top of this understanding of what it feels like to leave your country and have to like carry your love for your culture in your heart until you get back, if you can get back, right?
But also you have not forget. We also have to put it out there that this album it has another layer, right? Of Debí tirar más fotos, right? That connection with your family, with your loved ones, like that's what I want to see. How is he gonna connect that? Because that's what transcend more. He's gonna showcase, the cultura puertorriqueña, but there's another layer of like people got that song and it's got so close to it. It grew because it reminded you of your loved ones that are not here, the ones that are here that you want to make memories with, right? So I think that's the other part that he's gonna bring, because I don't know if he's gonna take the whole sobrinos to all these. Hopefully they do, right? Because that would be amazing for people to see that. But also that part of like Debí tirar más foto, making it that big, right? Of like connecting your own culture with it, right? Because it's very like, I was looking at the tour and I think he might bring a couple of these prompts that he used here, because 100%. There's not a lot of dates like in between, right? Like he's in Colombia, he's in Mexico, and then like close dates. For the Super Bowl, right? It's exactly. Like a 1-day Super Bowl in Argentina. Yes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he, like you said, like how he's going to take this to the other countries, to like. He's gonna be in Tokyo, I think it is. Like, how are you gonna do that? You know what I mean? So it's so interesting to see what's gonna happen with the tour en esta parte del mundo con eso. Pero como dijo la madrina, Super Bowl.
Come on.
Okay, but before we get into the Super Bowl, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
So the Super Bowl
announcement.
Okay, baby, that announcement.
Talk about it.
I got gut punched again. If anybody had the best year, it's Benito. I don't think I've ever seen a year like this. He's literally everywhere. Like since what, March, when his album came out?
Back in January. Because
he gave us Pitoro de Coco. What?
That was before. That was
January 2nd, right?
No, he dropped
December 29th.
Yeah, he dropped in December. He dropped the album a day before Three Kings Day.
Like, who? I have not seen a run this great ever. So then to have still be on a street of his residency, and now the world tour amongst the world tour, the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh my God! So we heard the announcement was going to happen at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock last Sunday. Of course, we hit our group chat. Hey, what y'all think? Okay, so we're talking about. Someone said Cardi B. Someone said Adele. Someone said Taylor Swift. Someone said Benito. And I said maybe Cardi because her album just dropped and it's fire. Okay, fire. Okay, we need a pod for that.
Bodega.
Okay,
Bodega.
okay, and it might be a lot of curse words, but but so I thought it was gonna be Cardi B, but because she goes on tour in February, I think she's it's due February, and then she's taking a tour. I'll be there in March.
That's
very wild, but hey, women, won't you do it? So I thought it was Cardi. I heard Taylor denied it. She has been having a long streak for years as well too. Her dating Trav. Hey Chiefs. But
tomato.
you don't even have a team. Anyway.
Oh, tomato. But I know what I don't got.
So we thought it was Taylor. I heard it was Adele. I'm like, Adele, I don't know. Up in the Super
She
Bowl.
gonna put us to sleep. I mean,
Hello?
she's a great voice. No, she's a great voice, but she says it herself. She doesn't dance. She's not like that type of performer. So she always says she will never do a show like that because that's not like the showcase of her. Her stuff is more intimate.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to hear hello
Ain't nobody trying to call her
because I need to be hyped. Okay, hello. Okay, I like her, but so we had our people that we were guessing, and then so I believe woman said Benito, and I'm like, I don't know. He said he wasn't going to do America, so yes, but I'm gonna hand it off to the girls, and we're gonna get back to that in my thoughts. Okay.
So I had saw like a projection of Benito probably being the performer, and we have gone back and forth with like maybe it's Cardi B, but I was like, yo, she about to drop a whole kid, like is her uterus ready? Like I don't know, that's a lot. Like I mean, I don't know, I ain't never give birth to nobody's kid, but like I would think I want to heal and then do a quick boom cat for one of the biggest one of the biggest platforms. Like, not that she can't, right? Like, because Cardi's a great performer. Well, she's entertaining. We'll get into performance later. So yeah, like I was saying, Cardi's very entertaining. I don't know about performance wise, especially after dropping a load. I don't know how that's gonna be. But there was a lot of discourse in our group chat, like quien puede ser, quien puede ser. And I'm like, yo, the biggest performer. Everybody, Benito Martínez Ocasio has been on so many people's lips, in and out the diaspora. But there was this like, pero he's not touring America, right? Quote unquote. So I was like, I don't know. But on the tweeters, we saw that he was projected to do the show. Y después, dun, 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 salió. Que he's going to be, first of all, the promo was so dope.
Eso es lo que iba a decir.
The promo was so
can we talk
dope.
about the promo?
Okay. First of all, as soon as I heard the seagulls, I said, ella calladita.
You know a Puerto Rican seagull when you see it.
Okay, I was like, baby, bro. Maldito pájaro. But like I just him in the pava sitting on the field goal
with the chanclas.
And usually that cringes me out, pero it works for him. And the ocean in the back. I was just like, oh yes, that was like that's such a great, like, first of all, he tweeted like, I thought of, me and my team thought about it and was like, yeah, maybe one date in the US. And I was like, you know what, Benito? I just got instantly so hyped because I cannot wait for the messaging that he's going to utilize with his art. And for me, especially like with like Kendrick last year, having such impact with his performance and how beautiful he utilized the imagery there. Also to the controversy of like, is he gonna say this song? Is he gonna do that? And he did. Going into the camera and saying, "Hey Drake" is wild work. But he said, "I'm gonna put it on the table, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do." So that was really, really dope. So I'm super excited, one, to see the messaging of it all. I could care less of whom he might bring out, but like the cohesive message of being on this global stage, because that's another thing too. NFL is trying to be a global competitor. So much so with all of these international games that they had, and still have, because I think they're in London this year today. I think, right?
One of them, yeah.
One of them. They in one of these countries. This weekend they've been in Brazil. They're gonna go to Mexico. I think Canada, London, and Ireland. I think those were the countries that they were going to this year. to again make this sport more global, because for the longest it's been very American, right? I think that this is one of the biggest stages that he can play for, that showcases again our culture to a whole nother level, but also what is the messaging gonna be, how he's gonna convey that message. Especially the year that this country has had here. You know, without laying all the cards on the table, if you've lived in America, you know what we're going through. So there is that, right? If you have a pulse, you know what we're going through. So for me, I was super, super excited. And I'm going to pass it back to Jay before we go to Diane, because she it was hard to her wrap her head around. I'm gonna let her speak her truth.
Pero espérate.
Uh-huh.
Que cuenta el background.
Oh yeah, so we on a group chat, right, after we figured out that Cardi's gonna still be breastfeeding, and not being, you know, a performer, or you know, she might come out. Who knows? King sabe. She was like, I don't know, you know, according to Jay, was like, but he said he wasn't gonna do America, and and I was like,
Why talk like
sweet seagulls, okay. You know, she's like, I don't know, you know, he said he was gonna do America, and I was like, but think about what he can say, how he can utilize that performance. And she was like, I don't know how I feel about it. So because she don't know how to feel about it,
go ahead.
I'm gonna pass the mic to somebody who didn't know how to feel about it. You know, somebody who didn't know how to feel about the Bad Bunny announcement. Go ahead, gather your thoughts.
I did not say that. I don't know what one was talking about. No. All right. Let me see your phone, please. All right. So I, of course, wanted to see Bad Bunny on every single screen, on my phone, on my laptop, and on the radio, everywhere. But when I heard he was going to perform at the Super Bowl, of course, my first emotion was excited. I couldn't wait. I'm like, thank God, you know, everybody, the masses can see him, because so many people watch the Super Bowl. But then on the other side, I'm like, wait, he said he wasn't going to come to America. So what is he saying? Because we hear so many celebrities caving into the money or the publicity or the fame, and I didn't want this to go to his head. I'm like, you know what? What is he doing? Is everything he said like not true? Is he, you know, caving in? I didn't want that. So, but after a conversation in our group chat, I'm like, you know what? He is saying, you know what? I'll do this one show in America. All right, y'all gonna pay me. I'm gonna get all this, you know, notoriety and put PR on a global screen. So that I respected. But I'm looking forward to, you know, his press release on why he's doing this. But I am very excited, and I know he has the best intentions, and I know he's being very calculated on doing it. But I do want to hear from him.
Before we get to you, Diane, so I just wanted to put a disclaimer. So artists do not get paid.
Yes.
So Apple
but they
Music,
get like sponsors.
of course,
yes.
or they do get revenue
Ads,
with the
yes.
downloads. But I
Yes.
just wanted to put out
Yep.
there, because
Yep.
a coworker of mine was like, "Oh, y el dinero que se va a ganar." I said
No.
they don't get paid for that.
Right.
So, but again, he was an older gentleman, so I had to explain things how they work, you know, to him. But yes, to that disclaimer, you're absolutely right. There is this thing, but also, who knows how long he's known this information, right? Like,
Right.
he kept it on the wraps as well.
Right.
So le voy a pasar el mic to someone else who got something to say about the bad announcement. Diane, your thoughts?
Primero, qué freaking orgullo. Ok, yo tengo que decir eso. Porque cuando yo vi a Bad Bunny trepado en, ¿cómo se llama esa cosa? En el field goal, thank you. Porque vamos a aprender, él dijo 4 meses para aprender español. Pues nos toca hacer 4 meses para aprender del NFL, ¿ok? Aunque yo soy Eagle, fly, ¿ok? Y vamos para el super, ¿tú sabes qué es eso? ¿Ok? Pero vamos para allá. Pero, tú sabes, fue... Listen, olvídate de eso. Pero lo más emocionante fue verlo a él trepado como un jíbaro moderno, ¿ok? Y decir, ¿sabes? Ver cómo él te está diciendo, desde Puerto Rico para el mundo, aquí vamos. Okay, eso fue lo más que yo dije, like, se me pararon los pelos, verlo vestido, como tú dices, con chancletas, con su traje, con su pava, en la playa de fondo. Pero lo más que me emocionó fue, yo me sentí en algún momento, te lo tengo que ser bien honesta, I think I was in the same position as Jay, and like, but wait, this no hace sentido. Pero luego yo dije, hace todo el sentido, right? Rock Nation está haciendo un excelente trabajo. En el último que hizo es un significado lo que hay ahí. Es la plataforma más grande, vamos a usarla bien. Y yo creo que eso es lo que ellos quieren llevar, ¿verdad? Y todos los ojos este verano estuvieron en Puerto Rico con la residencia. Y ver lo que ha hecho él, que yo creo que ha inspirado a demasiado. Nosotros vimos a Travis Scott en Puerto Rico. Vimos a LeBron James. Vimos a Juan Jamón. Tú sabes, es que habían tanto artistas, actores, name it, y estaba allí. Para ver esto de cerca. Y eso te está diciendo, like, esto está fuera de liga, right? Like, you have to go and see that. Y como ya estaba diciendo, la música, ¿sabes? En el music business en los Estados Unidos, todo el mundo estaba hablando de esto. So, lo que él va a preparar para eso, yo estoy súper emocionada para ver qué es lo que va a pasar allí. Porque de que se van a tirar la tela, se van a tirar la tela. Pero lo más emocionante fue para mí ver a un puertorriqueño llegar a la tarima más grande de deporte, en el sentido, ¿verdad? Y que tenga la oportunidad de demostrarle al mundo su talento en un idioma que se habla a través del mundo, más que los demás. So, fue bien emocionante. Tenemos de P fucking R. Y como dice la madrina,
¡puñeta!
Pues sí, so of course this announcement didn't come with a lot, como ¿cómo se dice? Con mucho orgullo, también controversy, right? So I love seeing the support, not just from fellow Latinos or Puerto Ricanos, but also from our Black brothers and sisters who were so hyped. So they have some requests, according to them on TikTok. Ready? We're going to name them. Number 1, don't see or say and not a lick of English. They don't even want him to say thank you, NFL, todo español, right? So they don't want no English. They told us before he told us, people got months to learn. That's number 1. Number 2, they have some special requests for people to come out. Yes. Starting with Elvis Crespo. Exactly. So they were like, how would that not unite? They're like, that is like the number 1 song unifier. They want Elvis Crespo there. So, God, if you're listening, make it happen. There's been folks who even said, Daddy Yankee, Dego, things of that nature to bring people out of reggaeton. But they've been like he's been so received well, not just from like the Latino side, but also from, our African American brothers and sisters, of just being super hyped for us to know that he has had such a big year and how much this has been impactful to us, and how proud Puerto Ricans are. Like, everybody knows a proud ass Puerto Rican. Like, you're going to see us. Yep. Before you hear us. Okay, you're going to see us.
La cantidad de party que van a haber disponible para ver el Super Bowl. Hello.
I told Jay she's hosting, so she doesn't have a choice. But they've made those major requests. And then also too, the conversation of like, why would they have him as this artist here and things of that nature. So of course, those grifting conversations have happened. So we're not going to give that a lot of light, because that's for your miserableness to figure out. And also, this is a business, right? Yes, there's this cultural aspect. Yes, there's this like forefront of what his message can be. But at the end of the day, the NFL needs those advertising dollars to make sense, because though they need those viewerships, right? Like that at the end of the day. So no, your other artists that you may have wanted to may have not been able to give them those views. And also, again, there's this globalization of this sport that's happening at real time. So we have to be understanding of all the pieces at play
Absolutely,
here, right?
Absolutely.
That we get something that we love and care for ourselves, with bad being, you know, the artist, but also this is a business, right? We're all participating in capitalism. We have no choice, right? We're all right? Like we have no other form. So our viewership is going to convert to dollars to folks. They want to make their money. No, they're not going to put some boring ass artist that's probably going to
No menciona nombre.
I'm not. Some boring ass artists that might cater to like maybe not even 10% of all their viewership, right? Like they're going to try to convert these things to make sense for themselves, both literally and in their pockets.
Yeah.
So for those who had something to say, sigue diciéndoselo. You know, opinions are like asses. We all have one.
Ay, Dios mío.
That doesn't mean we need to open them.
Me voy.
I was super hyped to hear that and see that, but I can also understand, because again, from his mouth, from that interview, right, in print, que él dijo que no quería hacer tour dates en Estados Unidos por ICE, por being afraid for his fans, right? Yeah. I think that this made sense for him to say, you know what, I'll throw y'all a bone. I'll show up to the States on your biggest fucking night. Okay, and I'll make it so that I really don't have to charge my fans anything, because those tickets are super expensive. He's gonna be really transmitting for those who are watching at home. Whoever's in the seat, cool, whatever. But it's the most intimate through a camera that he's going to be at, because he's not gonna be performing in front of a stadium of his full fans, right? They're here for that little ball game, whoever it might be.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
May the Chiefs, may the Chiefs not see the lights. But we do, okay, because I be having to tell that man the Colts score every Sunday because he be at work. Which, by the way, last week they lost after having the freaking
against the Rams, right?
Yes, girl. I was like, how? We were 20-20. Like, how did we make it here? Like, you were holding the game off. Like, so boom. Okay. And the Colts is being ran by, you know, her poppy RIP'd. So yeah, for real. So the owner passed away, and so now it's being ran. It's owned by his daughters, and she'd be right there on the sideline taking notes, if they looking at things very much with her. It's been super dope. So it's been really cool when they do play, to see her being out on the sidelines and, you know, doing all the things. So
okay, so you do know a 1-2.
Okay. Women in sports.
Woman. Unfortunately.
Well, let's see. So what else do we have on our docket? We talked about uno más. We talked about the René, and we talked about the Super Bowl. Did you see the SNL sketches?
Vi algunos, no los vi todos.
Okay, so talk about the ones that you did see. Because I know the Chavo de Ocho brought so much nostalgia.
So yo creo que ese fue uno de los que vi. Y tú sabes lo más brutal es que siempre que no está ahí, lo hace tan latino, ¿verdad? Y dejar ver que SNL le permite ser this creativo with it, right? Because they have other talent. There are Latino there. They have the Cuban guy, Marcelo. And he does amazing there. Pero ver cómo usaron el Chavo del Ocho. Yeah, okay. So, Cuban and Dominican, ahí está. No, pero el Chavo, traer algo como el Chavo del Ocho, que es algo tan cultural, máxime para mucha cultura. Los dominicanos, los mexicanos, los puertorriqueños, los en Estados Unidos, ¿sabes? Todo el mundo conoce el Chavo del Ocho, right? Y ver, se comió el personaje de Kiko. I'm sorry, like yeah, I died, okay? How he did it. Y pero ver básicamente lo brutal que se escucha en inglés, mind you. So, tú sabes, ver cómo hizo eso, esa fue una de las que vi su monólogo, of course, que habló por sí solo.
Okay.
Lo que dijo, tiene 4 meses, ok, escoge lo cual tú quieras, pero aprende del idioma para que sepas lo que estamos diciendo. Pero fue bien interesante, tú sabes, verlo a él. Tú sabes que su vestimenta me dio Michael Jackson vibes. No sé por qué ese vibe como de los, o salsero,
Yeah.
de los 80, de los 90, me dio ese vibe.
So his vibe is, okay. His vibes before was giving me big cousin vibes, but now it's giving big Theo energy. Okay, don't ever come around, but when he come around, he slides you like $40. You know what I mean? He talks to you on the low about what it is. He lets you take a sip of the drink and be like, "No le digas tu madre." You know what I mean? Like he gives me that type of Theo. Very fun uncle, does some questionable things on the side, but you never really hear from him, never really been in jail, sort of, kind of, but fun uncle. I have a few of those on my daddy's side. But like that's what it was giving, but it was giving that salsero vibe. It was giving a frankly, like energy for me. So I love seeing his Vegetalia. Same to the chavo when it came on, I loved it. The one that I didn't really care for was the Jeopardy one. I think it was boring. Okay. Pero me encantó también the Demon K Hunter pop one. Because también he gave them the ability. So I love that cross that he loves, like that the Asian market and making sure that they're being seen, which was really, really cute. And I love the Spain one where he's like explaining the Spanish words, which is confusing, right? Because they're like, "Oh, mañana, eso es femenina." So, and they're like, so this one guy in the audience goes, "Y vestido, that's for a woman, so that would be a female." He's like, "No, it ends in a O, that's for masculine." And so like again, having that conversation of like the Spanish language is like complicated when you're talking about engendered ways. So it was really, really again, the reader in me was like, this is funny. This is a cute, like literary, linguistic joke laid out. So it was really, really cool. I was also surprised that he was just hosting. He wasn't the musical guest. It was Doja Cat, and she's in this like 80s era of hers. Okay. So I really couldn't get into it because I haven't been able to like really listen to her music. So beautiful gowns. She looked amazing. But the music wasn't really landing with me because again, I'm like, I haven't been able to ingest it. Nothing against her, I just haven't been able to ingest it to really like touch base with it. But she was the musical guest, so he was just the talent and the host, which he did a great job. I think he said this was his fourth time. Fourth time being on there, which is cool. And I also think there's that cost with Marcelo, right, of bringing him in and that talent, and also to this like generation of SNL cast being younger, and also bringing in that new fresh blood, because it can be very hit or miss. And I think that with SNL, especially in this climate, like they don't know a moderate audience. Like it goes back and forth, and so I've watched it outside of like him just being there, and sometimes I'm like, none of the skits land. This like get to the musical guest because this isn't for me, right? Like whereas with this one, all except for the Jeopardy one, because it was played, it was like it was corny, so I wanted like to get to something better. They did the Chat GPT skit, which was hilarious. Asking your uncle for advice via Chat GPT, hilarious. I need to watch that one. Please, it's funny. It's super funny. But all in all, it was a really great show. I saw it this morning because Auntie is old, okay, and tired, very tired. So I was not standing up for that.
Yo he entendido que no es que estamos viejas, ¿ok? Es que queremos vivir más, ¿ok? So, ese beauty sleep tiene que ser más, ¿ok? So, por eso es que nosotros pues necesitamos nuestras horitas para dormir y thanks to the internet no podemos ver todo the next day, ¿ok? Porque está ahí para nosotros, para que podamos vivir un poquito más.
Bueno, this has been our show. It has been very Benito Martínez Ocasio coded. It was stuff that we needed to get out because we just had to, again, because we were on a break. We needed to, like, there was life happening. So we will get into that. But there has been so much happening with Benito that we would be remiss not to recap or have the conversation along with the culture. So You can always find us on the TikToks, on the Instagrams at Boricua Culture Mix Pod. You can email us at boricuaculturemix@gmail. Dale un like, dale un follow. Keep it cute. I always say keep it cute. Also, wanted to give a shout out to all of those who are listening who have either gave us really really good feedback or just said oh, I can't wait to listen. We see you. We're our TikTok is growing in a more organic fashion, and we are two regular women who love our culture and are trying to make sure that our voices are not drowned out by nonsense. So we thank you over and over again, and shout out to La Madrina.
La Madrina, thank you guys for having me.
It was so much fun to be here with you. Diane, ¿tiene algo más que decir?
Yo creo que lo dijiste todito. Estamos aquí por la cultura, vamos a seguir por eso. A la madrina, thank you, porque siempre que está aquí, tú sabes, la pasamos súper brutal. So, you're more welcome to be here whenever you would like. So, tú sabes, estás more than welcome to estar aquí con nosotros para pasarla brutal, porque eso es lo que hacemos aquí, pasarla brutal. Y como dijo Wilma, tú sabes, búscanos, encuéntranos y sigue escuchando y sigue dejándonos saber en qué debemos hablar, qué no, y qué hace falta en la cultura. Así que en esta nos vamos, porque esta fue heavy de Benito.